The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Windy Lady coming into the studio. And I'm a hefty girl, I gotta say. It almost knocked me over. But anyway, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, and this is our hour to talk taxes. And we're going to hopefully give you some things to help you out so you don't overpay your taxes or make some decisions that would cost you a lot more money in taxes. And I'm joined in studio with Chris Fabian. Hey, Chris.
Hello, Esther. I thought it was, with 2020, this could be like we're heading into Oz. There could have been a witch flying on a
there is
on a bicycle.
Okay. Yeah, well, it really was windy. I mean, for no hurricane, right? 50 mile an hour. And Tiffany Fabian.
Hey there. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Okay, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. That's our phone number. If you have any questions, love to hear what you have to say. We're going to talk about tax school first. How about school?
Yep, tax school starts October 22nd.
But we closed it up yesterday.
We did, but
I would pay attention because we usually do run a Saturday class, a second school. Or if you have experience and you want to join our firm, we'd love to have you. Give us a call, and me and Tiffany could do an interview.
That's right. And then don't forget, it's open enrollment, and we have Tim Eliason and his team at our office, and they can hook you up with Medicare or switch your current plan.
So you're talking about health insurance.
Yep. Tim is really good about doing a health inventory and finding what's best for you, finding the best fit. And let's face it, healthcare is really, really important. So,
and it's a big topic during this the presidential debate of which I have watched like 100 movies in the last few weeks. I'm just electioned up to my neck. I can't stand anymore. So I've watched all these movies, and every once in a while I just turn on the radio just to get a upshot, synopsis. And then I go, no, I'm just going to watch another movie.
I just can't stand the fighting and the backstabbing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's very
terrible.
hard.
And our country is on the line. It's just very, very scary. I'm going to move to Puerto Rico. Anyway.
Costa
Rica. That's it. Not Puerto Rico.
Costa Rica.
I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. We want to talk about do this, not that. Right? Yep. And we got your calls coming in, but let's first of all talk about refunds. If you're somebody that usually gets a big tax refund, should they get a big tax refund?
No, especially now, case in point, I've had clients wait for months and months and months and months to get a refund, especially people, I've got a lot of letters for people who had health insurance through the marketplace. They invariably always hold up those tax returns, but no, you should not get a large refund.
And why would that be, Chris?
Well, because the government holding your money.
Right, and but this is the thing: if you're getting a large refund, it means they're taking too much money every week out of your paycheck, which means that you're short money during the week, right? So then, what are you tempted to use?
Your credit cards,
charge cards,
and pay
which are at 25%, right? So changing your W-4 at work is a really smart thing to do so that you get more take-home pay, you can pay down those credit cards, and that would be in essence like making 25% on your money. And I know it feels really good. Everybody says to me, but this is how I catch up. Well, you catch up because you went in the hole. Right. But if you didn't need to go in the hole, then you wouldn't have to catch up.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
All right. Let's go to the phones, and we have Bob, who's been waiting for a while. Hey, Bob, how can we help you, sir?
Well, first of all, thank you for helping me and everybody else in Western New York.
Oh, well, this is our pleasure. We love it. I love what I do. So, but what can we help you with, sir?
Well, I'm going to cash in some savings bonds from my mother's estate.
Okay.
And I believe I used Form 1041 to report it on. Is that correct?
Yeah, if the estate is cashing them in, yes, you do a 1041.
Okay. Now, it's going to be a large amount of interest, I believe, like something like $50,000 in interest or something. Now, I also should send in a estimated tax form on that.
Well, are you going to be distributing the money this year as well?
Yes.
So if you distribute the money before the end of the year, you can put it on the personal side, because the 1041 is going to pay 37%.
Right, which you don't really want to do. So let's just say, for simple math, there's 3 heirs that are going to be splitting $30,000, and each heir is going to inherit $10,000 on a K1, and then that goes on their personal return. Now, you may say, well, I don't want to pay the taxes on it, but the estate, if you're getting the estate, is going to have to pay 37% on it. And if you're in the 10% bracket, then you'd only pay 10% rather than 37%, so you'd save 27%.
So what Chris and Esther are saying is, if you do it before the end of the year, it could go on the heirs'
You don't
return.
really want it to go on the 1041.
Okay, well, the problem is, or the situation is, it's going to a trust. In other words, my mother's estate goes into a trust that's distributed from the trust.
Yeah, so then there's no...
Yeah, so it's going to be a 1041 either way. So, okay, that's...
So you might want to do an estimated payment, so that you don't have to pay a penalty.
Although it never had taxes last year, so there would be an exception to penalty. The first year when you owe money, there's an exception to penalty. Then next year you have to do estimates if you're going to have a liability in 2021.
I don't believe so.
So then you can do a 2210, which means that there won't be any penalty because you didn't have a liability the year before.
Oh, okay. So that's great.
Okay.
Is there any state income tax on it?
It's excludable on New York State.
Oh, that's great. That's at least one good thing, illegal fraud taxes.
Well, there you go, Bob. Thanks for calling.
Well, thank you.
Have a great windy day. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone. Our toll-free number, our text number is 716-8030930. We have a comment here.
Yeah, it says, I was going to say, for politics, Puerto Rico is even worse, but caught you. It's Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
I caught
Costa Rica. If the worst happens,
I like monkeys are great.
I do.
There.
The howler monkeys are great.
And the food is
Why
good.
don't we take a short break? We'll be back with Rick and Mike and your calls on the other side. I've got all my sisters with me. Hey, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, and we're talking taxes, and we want to help you any way we can. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Our text number 716-8030930, and we're going to go to Rick. Hi, Rick. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Thanks. It seems like every time I listen in, there's always a good tip from you, so I appreciate you being on.
Oh, well, thank you. We try to tip you every week.
Yeah, good. So, 2 quick questions. So, one is a work-from-home situation. So, if your employer mandates you to work from home, and you got a long ways to go, nothing is deductible.
Not if you're an employee. Not if you're an employee. Now, in my little thing that I got prepared for today, if you have an office and home, if I were you, I would say to the employer, I would like you to reimburse me for those expenses. And if you submitted an expense report to them and they reimbursed you, then that reimbursement would be tax-free.
Fair enough.
Now, it's potentially deductible on the state.
Yeah, that little bit of office and home would be deductible on New York State. But what I'm suggesting people say to their employers, I got to pay for the internet. I had to upgrade my printer. I'm buying the paper here. I'm buying the ink for my toner. And it's costing me $150 a month to operate here. Would the company reimburse me? And if they do, then that reimbursement would be tax-free.
Yeah, and if they don't, there's that little tiny bit you can deduct on the state.
Right, that's right. Okay, Rick?
Did you have another question? I thought you had 2 questions.
Quick. So I'm sending my daughter to a private Catholic school.
Okay.
I know that tuition is not deductible.
Right.
Correct? Okay. But my question is this. When I pay on a monthly basis, the receipt says donation.
Yeah, well, that's a guaranteed go to jail free card,
But he could take.
But
money
I
from
will tell you, if you
529.
put money in that's another. You're hitting two things I was going to talk about
529.
later. If you put money in a New York State 529 plan, then the income is going to grow tax deductible. Well, it will be not tax free if you use it for qualified education, of which private school would qualify, and you'll get the tax deduction on New York State. So if you put $10,000 away and you're in the 6% bracket, you save $600 in New York State taxes.
That's
plus
a good
the growth. The growth is tax free.
That's a good plan.
All right. Well, I appreciate.
Better than nothing. You got to pay the bill. You may as well get a tax deduction.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Bye-bye. Okay, we got another.
No.
Okay, all right. So let's go here. One of the things I was going to talk about is if you have children in daycare, and you have a flexible spending account through your employer, you can set aside up to $5,000, which would be tax free, on the federal and New York State, as opposed to getting the 20% credit on the federal. And it would work out a lot better because this would be, you wouldn't have to pay FICA on it, and you wouldn't pay income tax on it.
Right.
So that's a better use of your money, especially, but it would require you to think about it and do it in advance.
That's exactly right. So you go to HR and you say that I want to put money aside into the flexible spending for the child care, and it's tax free up to $5,000,
Right.
which is a really good plan.
So the credit, if you're in a higher, at least middle income situation, is only 20%. If you're, you'd save the 7.85% in FICA for sure, plus the income tax. And if it's for one child, the credit is only allowed on $3,000, but on the flexible spending you can do $5,000. So it's a really good deal. So that's another thing. All right, I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Do you have anything to say, Chris? You're sitting there like
no. You know,
like
with
a little
children,
mouse.
One thing is, and I know Tim was here a couple weeks ago talking about it. Just because you can have your child on your health insurance to age 26 doesn't mean
you want to.
You want to.
Right.
Because you can, if their income is low enough, they can get health insurance for $20 a month through New York State.
really good.
Really good health insurance. And if you want to go all gang to the wall and get them dental and vision, it would cost $45 for way better health insurance than you have right now. And if you're paying, I had a lady in my office this week, she was going to pay Cobra an extra $700 a month to keep her children on the health insurance.
And it would have cost $20.
Yep.
Right? So, again, if you need help with that, too, EG Tax does that. We have EG Health Connect, and Tim Eliason is our president of that. And you can call us at 632-7886, and we'll help you with your health insurance. All of that stuff is so expensive. And what we're talking about today, do this, not that, it requires you to do something. And a lot of times we say, oh, I just don't feel like changing. Well, then that means you're going to overpay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And another tip before I go back to the phones is if you have children in college, the American Opportunity Tax Credit is a maximum of $2,500. In the state of New York is like $400. The credit is. So that's $2,900 that you would save. But if your kid says, but I'm working now, Dad, and I made $10,000 and I want the credit. Well, the kid wouldn't pay any taxes anyway. You, let's say, are making $90,000 and you'd pay $7,200 in taxes. So after the credit, it would drop to $4,300. The kid saves nothing but $1,000. Okay, so the family suffers by $1,900. And if you let your kid claim the education credit last year or the year before, we can amend and get you your money back.
That's right.
I mean, it's absolutely, kids should not be claiming themselves 95% of the time.
They're not even entitled to the refundable portion of that credit. And so it's just not a good plan at all.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the phones.
Mike is next.
We're going to go to Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Esther.
Hey, what can we do for you?
I've got a question about this COVID problem. I know in the,
You and everybody else, Mike.
yeah, I know in the past you were never able to take off for unemployment, let's say towards an IRA. Is that still in effect?
That's correct. You have to have earned income in order to put money aside into a pension plan, of which an IRA is a pension plan. Unemployment is unearned income.
But I wonder if you were working at all during the year that you had some earned income.
Yes, I was. But here's my second question. It kind of
Dovetails.
goes off of that. Spousal IRA. Would my wife, who is over, 55, would she be able to get an IRA?
Well, is she working?
Right now, no.
All right. So during the year, did you and she have pension plans at your job?
No.
Okay. So you're entitled to put,
as long as there's earned income on the tax return.
Well, she could use his as the
right.
And he said he had some.
Right.
Yeah.
So up to 7,000. How old? You said she's over 50, right?
Yes.
So $7,000 she could set aside. And if you had earned income and no pension plan, you can put $7,000 away as well, but not based on the unemployment, based upon your wages. If you had wages of $14,000, you can put $7,000 into an IRA, and your wife can put $7,000 into an IRA.
Super. Okay.
And that's a really good plan.
All right. Thanks a lot,
It's
Mike.
a good way to deter some of that cost for the unemployment, because unemployment was really
Now,
high.
here's the thing. Let's just say he and his wife only made $14,000, right? Mm-hmm. And they would get, they're under the age of 65, they get the earned income credit. So in their case, they wouldn't want to put the full $14,000 away because they would mess up the earned income credit.
Well, it also depends on how much the earned income is, the unemployment is, and if they're both on it.
That's true.
You got to look at, but I know what you're saying. But yeah, you got to look at the whole situation and see what's the best result, because then there's also the retirement savers credit. And
right. If you had $40,000 in
So the nice thing
unemployment, that'd
about
be
the
different.
IRA is you have 3 months into the new year to put it in, so he could really do some planning.
Right. And anybody listening, we will do planning with you at no charge.
Right.
So, I mean, I had a lady that came in yesterday, and she said that she has a corporation she hasn't done for 7 years, and she hasn't done any of the bookkeeping. And she said, and I think I would like to sell my business, but I can't sell my business until I do these corporate returns. And we said, no problem. We'll get it all done for you.
That's right.
You know. So she said, well, that makes me feel a lot better. I mean, to get all your ducks in a row is a really important thing.
And that's, there's a lot of people out there right now that are probably in the same boat. Maybe not a corporation, but a personal side where they haven't filed since 2012 or 2015. Don't let it become the fear so overwhelming where you just let it go. Come into us. We'll tackle 1 year at a time, and you'll slowly feel better.
Right.
And it's a great feeling to get them all caught up. And not to mention, if you have a 15 and a 16 return and you had a refund coming, you lost that refund.
That's true.
I mean,
after 3 years, you lose all that money. They keep it. The other thing is, it's a psychological thing where you think that, you think to yourself, oh, I'm ashamed and everything. Do not worry. We're used to it, and we certainly will not shame you. We're certainly, and then once you get it straightened out,
there's also the potential of offer and compromise, and so
right. And the other thing is, many people, they're extending that deadline for getting the stimulus for people that haven't filed tax returns. So that's also open too.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Kathy in Buffalo. Hi, Kathy. How can we help you?
Hi, Esther. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
Esther, I'm calling regarding the change in the required minimum distribution.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a financial program on TV recently, and what I was led to believe is that you do not have to take your RMD this year.
Right.
But there's a possibility if you do take it, you pay the taxes on it, and then you can take the remainder and use that to purchase a Roth IRA.
Okay, well, so...
Correct?
You can roll over anytime you want from your traditional IRA to a Roth. Okay, but you pay the taxes on it, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, many people that are over the age of 65 with their higher standard deduction don't pay any taxes at all, even with their RMD. And so if you're somebody that pays no taxes because you don't have to pay taxes because your income is under like $28,000, then you wouldn't pay any taxes if you took money out of your RMD. So you'd want to, because that would be tax-free. But at any point in time, you can take your traditional IRA and roll it into a Roth, but then you pay taxes on that money when you do that rollover. So let's say you rolled over $100,000. You might pay taxes of $30,000 on that rollover from a traditional to a Roth. It is true then, from then on out, it won't be taxable, but you already paid the taxes on it.
And you have to come up with that $30,000 to pay for those taxes, and it's not like you can just take it out of your Roth.
Right.
So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you have the money.
You can take money out of your traditional IRA and then put some money into a Roth, but you're going to pay taxes when you do it.
And so what you really want to do is make sure you're planning accordingly. I
right.
mean,
So, you have to look at the whole picture, not just a piece of the picture. So anyway, Kathy, I hope that helps. But if you need us, you can call us at 632-7886, and we're happy to help you and anybody else. 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. We're going to take a short break for the news. We'll see you on the other side. Sisters with me. Hey, we are family. We think of you as family anyway. So when you have any tax questions or any financial questions, it's really good to have somebody you can run it by, and there's no charge. Call us anytime, and you can text us. And for those of you that go to our website, Ask the Tax Lady, I answer you right back. So want to help you, because once some of the things that people do is done, you can't undo what was done, and then you tax them, and you hate to do that.
That's what I was going to say, because they did change the tax law where you could have recharacterized your Roth IRA contribution back to a traditional, but now they have it as soon as it's in a Roth, it's stuck in a Roth.
Right.
So before you do it, call us so we can run the numbers so you know actually how much it's going to cost you, because once you do it, like you said, it's done.
Yep. I mean, so you roll over $100,000, you think, well, that was smart of me to move it into something that'll be tax-free. And then, what do you mean I owe $30,000 in taxes? I don't want to do that.
Not
too late.
Not to mention, some administrations talk about getting rid of the before tax contribution to your 401k and your traditional IRA, just going to Roths. And so the fact that politicians want to do that just makes me go,
Well, maybe because they get the taxes up front.
Right, exactly.
Okay, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. Something just came in on the text.
Yep, I sent my 2016 federal tax return in March 2020 certified mail. I still have not heard from them. I am supposed to get around $600 back. I did receive my state. What's taking so long? It's so funny. We called the IRS this year. This week there's a practitioner priority line. I probably call 3 or 4 times a day. And one of the IRS people said to us that there's trailers and trailers in their parking lot of mail that they just haven't gotten to. And that's because they were furloughed during COVID. And so when you shut down a big machine like the IRS, it just takes a long time for them to get caught up. And so
save that green card.
That's true.
Because that's your proof of your postmark. So
sure.
you will get your refund. It's just, you got to be patient.
But with that being said, if you want to call me at 632-7886, I would be delighted to do a conference call with you to check on the status with the practitioner line.
I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on the cell phone. You can text us at 716-803-0930. Okay. We talked before about putting money into a 529 plan to pay for a private school. I mean, that is a way many people are sending kids to private school, and that's one way that at least you can get a little benefit.
Yep. Yeah, Bob was talking about that earlier. He said when he pays his private school for his child, it says on the receipt, this is your donation to, XOXO but unfortunately you can't deduct it.
But the 529 you can. I'm sorry, Chris.
I was going to say, make sure though it's a New York 529. Don't just give it to your broker and say put it in a 529 because he could put it in a Massachusetts 529 that's getting an extra 0.5%, but you're losing that deduction on New York State.
Very good. Very good point. All right. And the other thing is if you're self-employed, pay your children. You'd save the FICA on them. Hire your spouse because you can set up a
HSA,
an
HRA,
right, an HRA. And you could actually pay for the medical bills for your spouse and your family using your HRA in your job. And so that would be remarkable. So the health insurance and all of the medical bills that you're paying. So if you're self-employed, rather than hiring outside people, hire your family. And people driving their car saying, don't think about it. I'm not going to work for you, Jack. Right? The other thing is children going in debt for college. It was interesting. I just heard about somebody that just paid cash for a car, and they have student loan debt. And I said to them, too bad you didn't take that money instead of paying $40,000 for the car and put it down on your student loan debt, because you're paying a lot more interest than you would have paid if you paid cash for the car, if you borrowed the money on the car. Yeah. So, all those little things about do this, not that, all make sense.
Yeah, because, my gosh, I know that person and their credit is really, really, really good. So they would get a phenomenal rate for that car loan, and their student loan interest is much higher than that.
I think they would get something like 1%. Yeah. And their student loan is what, 7, 8, 9%?
Yep.
So they would have made 7% by borrowing the money.
Yep.
But they never call me.
Don't do that.
Right? I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Interestingly enough, you can have, you can say to that person, you can actually put a car loan on that through PenFed at 2%, and then they could take the cash out and then use it to pay down student loan debt. Yeah. I know who you're talking about, so we won't talk about it.
But she's tied to another person, so it'll never happen.
Okay. The other thing is if you have wages and you have a profit sharing, not profit sharing, if you have a
401k.
401k, thank you. 401k plan through the employer, and the employer says that you can put money into it and you don't, and they do a match. You are really throwing away a lot of money. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have $50,000 in wages and you don't put in a pension contribution. You're going to end up paying taxes on that whole $50,000, for instance, taxable income. But if you would put $5,000 in a pension plan and you receive a 2% match from your employer, you save $600 in income taxes, plus with the employer match of $1,000, you'd come out $1,600 ahead.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
All right. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930.
And wait,
yes.
Then they get the retirement savings credit, which saves them even more.
That's exactly right. And it can go up to 50% of what you put away.
Yep.
Right? Okay. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and you can text us at 716-8030930. Okay, what else do I got here on my list of things I want to say? Let's see.
Health insurance.
Oh, your health insurance. Okay. Let's say that you're somebody making wages of $40,000 and your employer's making you pay $400 a month towards your health insurance. Because that's over the 9.6% of your wages, you're allowed to get out of that plan with your employer, and you can go into a catastrophic plan with the New York State of Health, and you could save like $4,800 a year. And if you're a young person without any big medical problems, you could really make out doing this, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the phones, and we're going to go to Ted. Hi, Ted. How can we help you, sir?
Hello.
Hello, Ted.
Are you getting feedback from my radio?
No, sir, I'm not.
Oh, good. Just have we're in New York here, by Buffalo, and my in-laws are in North Carolina, and my father-in-law's getting Alzheimer's, and no way can get him even to the doctor. And my mother-in-law just had a heart attack the other day, and she's in the hospital.
Wow.
And then And then my sister-in-law just went in a different hospital who's taking care of them, and she's got kidney problems.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was wondering if we could get them up to a home, maybe an adult living home in the Buffalo area, or would North Carolina not allow their assets to go to a nursing home up here, or would they be stuck in a nursing home down there?
Do they have assets in Carolina?
Yeah, they have their cars and their home.
So what do you think? Do they have a mortgage on their home?
I believe they still do.
What do you think that do you know how much free cash they would have available?
No,
North Carolina, up till now we were a free country. The state is not going to preclude them from moving from North Carolina back to New York if they're from New York originally. What they have to understand is if they're looking to get the state of New York to pick up their nursing home expenses, then they would be Medicaid. They'd be looking at Medicaid. If they have, I don't know the exact figure, but it's like $50,000 thereabout in assets, you can't go on Medicaid. There is a 5-year look back, so you'd have to. They would not be allowed to go on Medicaid in New York State with having too much in assets. But what I'd suggest you do is talk to an elder care attorney, and we have Dennis Kitchen or Jeffrey Katz who are absolutely great.
If you want to give us a call on Monday too, we also have an agency that does all the Medicare, Medicaid applications for nursing homes, and they should be able to help you as well. I just can't think of the name of that company off the top of my head.
Right, but the point is, Ted, so the first thing you got to do is you got to get adults to agree that they're going to change states. Even though somebody's sick many times, they still say, oh, no, we don't want to leave North Carolina. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is I would talk to an attorney about the procedure that you have to do, because ultimately, if both of your mother-in-law and father-in-law are in a nursing home, that's a lot of money, like $28,000 a month there and abouts. And Medicaid picks that up after they have their assets spent down low enough. So you want to talk to an attorney about that, I'd suggest. Or you can call us, and Chris can give you a phone number of somebody that can help you with that.
And then there's options. Maybe they could stay in their home. Maybe there's a family member
That's
to
true. And there
take
are
care
those
of them.
kind of options. But that really has to do with New York. You know about New York, but most states are not like New York. I will tell you, New York being very socialistic in its
stance,
right, and that's why the high taxes. Because when you do need a safety net, New York State is there. So I hope that helps you, Ted.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
All right,
it's a lot to tease out.
Give us a call, 632-7886. I took care of my mom before she went into a nursing home, and ultimately she spent maybe the last 6 months of her life on Medicaid, and it's a process, and so you got to make sure you get your ducks in a row.
And I know she fought you moving from Michigan to Buffalo.
Right, but I said to her, Mom, I can't take care of you from Michigan. So eventually then she moved into an assisted living, then she moved into independent living, then assisted living, and then into a nursing home. So I can appreciate the angst that you're under. God bless you and your family, though, Ted.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Text us at 716-8030930. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with your calls on the other side. Hey, we are family. And, we think of you as family. Those old-fashioned principles where the customer's always right and all that kind of stuff, we believe in that. So whenever something comes up, and rather than asking the guy over the fence, your neighbor over the fence, gee, can I do that? Give us a call, because we want to make sure we get it right the first time, right?
That's right.
All right, we got a text. What do we got, Tiff?
It says, I was lucky in 2020 and have gambling winnings of $9,000. Can I write off my losses that are the same amount and it'll be canceled out?
Who wants to tell the guy the bad news?
No, unfortunately. I mean, you can write off your losses, but it lives in a different world. The gambling winnings go on line 21. The losses are tucked away under itemized deduction. And so with the standard being so high, it's hard to itemize. Now, that doesn't preclude you from not itemizing on the state. So it's certainly worth a shot.
Right. I mean, you're certainly going to be able to write it off the 9 to the 9 on the state. All right, if you can itemize on the state because the threshold's lower. But if you're a single person, that standard deduction is like $12,500. So if you can itemize already, then you will get that full benefit of the $9,000. But if you can't itemize, then no, you're not going to benefit at all.
I know. I had a client come in, older clients. They came in with a CP 2000 letter for 2018, and he's like, Esther saved me last time I had this, and I think you guys can save me again. And it was $20,000 worth of gambling winnings they didn't report. And I'm looking at the return, and I'm like, well, do you guys own a home? Nope. Okay. Are you heavy tithers? Do you give a lot to charity? Nope. Any medical bills? Nope. I said, well, unfortunately, because your income's pensions, your gambling loss isn't even going to help you on the state. Right. We can't do it on the federal. And he goes, but I have this big bag of tickets. What am I supposed to do with it? I said, it will keep you warm during the winter. Unfortunately, there was nothing we could have done.
Gambling is really a problem, especially with this when you're a senior, because it can make your Social Security more taxable too, even though you didn't get any more. All right, we're going to go to the phones. We're going to talk to Ray. Hey, Ray, how can we help you, sir?
Well, actually, I have the opposite of a question. I'm calling to say thank you. You had on Jesse Meyer from Prostate Funding.
Don't you love Jesse?
A month ago. Well, that was the first I've ever heard of him, so I was listening intently. And the good news out of yes, I do like him. Love him. Very, very attentive, very easy to talk to. And so we had a mortgage rate of 4.25%, which, it was decent.
Right.
I'm able to drop it down to 2.25%.
Wow.
As a result, we save about $100,000.
Is that all, Ray? It's only $100,000.
Only $100,000 now. We haven't spent that money yet that we saved. But
isn't that great?
It's awesome. We lower our mortgage years by seven years.
Wow, that is so great.
And
Ray.
that's what you're talking about, that person with the low interest rate for credit card. The car loan.
I want to tell you, if people don't understand, the interest rates now are so low. It's almost like free money. Now, at some point in time, if you're an economist, you know that the interest rates are going to go back up, way up, because we're printing money at a ferocious rate, and there's a ginormous looming budget deficit. And at some point in time, we're going to move from an economy where the interest rates are low to very high. And Ray is going to sit around and laugh at everybody who's got 12% interest on a mortgage, and he's at 2%.
Did you shorten the terms of the mortgage too? Oh, you did shorten the terms.
Yeah, 7 years, he said.
Wow.
That's great. Well, thank you. Jesse will be very happy
I just texted
to know
Jesse.
that you are happy with what he did. He's a really great guy. So thanks for the good news, Ray.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. That's wonderful.
Incredible.
That put a smile on my face.
Jesse's
helped me and Chris several times.
There are so many angles with your finances you can do right now. If you got credit cards of 25%, even though the interest wouldn't be deductible because it's not tied to a remodeling on your home, taking out or refinancing your home to pay off those credit cards and then burning those puppies up so you don't use them anymore, which it's like getting, after you pay the 3% for the loan, it's like getting 22% on your money. And if you don't do that kind of thing, you got to look at yourself and say, what? I should never complain again about anything, because really it's your life and you have to take control of it. And that's one thing you can do. Interest rates are unbelievably low.
And that's like, if somebody's renting right now and paying $700, $800 a month in rent, go look and buy a house. It may not be your dream house right now, but you get a house, you pay the mortgage, you're paying down your mortgage. When you sell it later on, that money you paid in, you get back, where a rent, you don't.
Now, just in case anybody's wondering, we don't loan money, and we're not making any money off of saying this. This is all about what you should do as a consumer. If you're driving around going to church now and you think, well, I do have about $10,000 in outstanding credit cards, and I do have my mortgage almost paid for, maybe I should do this. You should. You should, right? Unless you have a 0% credit card. All right. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Text it to 716-8030930. Okay. Health insurance. If you have an expensive plan, high deductible, and you aren't making a contribution to an HSA plan, what do you think about that?
Oh, my God, you should make a contribution to the HSA, because then you can use some of this tax-free money to pay for your health insurance, and that'll be a win-win.
Right? Pay for your health insurance, pay for your medical bills. It works a lot like an IRA. I'm sorry, I took the wind out of your sails.
I was going to say your HSA turns into an IRA when you're 65. So you may have a retirement plan at work and you can't put extra money away, but you can through your HSA. So if you're healthy, load up that HSA, keep it going. You don't have to use it year after year. It just keeps building and building and building.
But if you do need to use it,
it's there.
It is. You can't. You have to come to a 10% threshold in order to use it as an itemized deduction. So let's say your income is $90,000. Until your medical bills get to $9,000, you wouldn't get any deduction for it. But on an HSA, if you put $5,000 into an HSA, that is a subtraction against your other income. And if you're in the 20% bracket, then you save $1,000 in taxes. And it's just like getting $1,000 deduction.
Let's face it, you usually can't deduct your medical expenses anyway, so this is a way around that.
Right, and health insurance costs are just starting to come out for next year. So really look at it, because with all the money that's being spent right now, you know they're going to be raising your deductibles, raising your insurance premiums. Make sure you shop around and get the best bang for your buck.
All right, and then we were just talking about credit cards. This is one of my examples here. Let's say that you've been living on unemployment, you've lost your job, you're waiting to get called back, so you're charging, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the money out of my 401k plan. It is true that if you take it out of your 401k, there is no penalty this year. That's one of the changes. But you still got to pay the taxes on it. So let's say that you want to take $50,000 out of your 401k plan, and you're going to pay 20% in taxes because you're in the 20% bracket. Your taxes are going to be $10,000. Thank God you're not going to have another $5,000 penalty, but your taxes are going to be $10,000. But if you borrowed the money rather than taking the money, then you pay yourself back over 5 years, and you don't pay the taxes, and you have the full money left in your pension plan then after the end of 5 years. That's a better way of getting the money.
Yep. Always borrowing against your pension. Yep. And then you're paying yourself back the interest, which is a really, really good plan.
All right. And let's say that you're somebody that works for an employer who makes you pay all of your sales expenses. You're an outside salesperson. They're not deductible anymore in the federal, only deductible on New York State. So this is what I'd suggest you do. And so meet with your employer and show them that if they give you a pay cut, but then reimburse you for your expenses up to what your salary was originally, then you're going to get tax-free reimbursement. The employer saves 8.75% on the FICA. You save the money on the income taxes because a reimbursement is not taxable, and it's a win-win. Both of you come out smelling like a rose, right?
Yep. Should we go to Paula?
We should go to Paula. Hey, Paula. Hey, Paula, how can we help you, my dear?
To you guys, and I would love to be able to buy a home someday. I don't have great credit. My score is like a 645, so I'm working on it. All my credit cards are paid off. I don't have any negative remarks.
All right. Now, do you have one of the good things to build up your credit is to get a credit card where you put the money into the credit card, and you would draw it off every month and then keep refurbishing it. After 3 or 4 months, you watch your credit score is going to go up.
And the neat thing is, Jesse, if you call him, he has this computer program where it can tell you a recipe on how to build your credit. It's amazing. He puts it in a 10-step plan specific to you, and he says this is how you can fix your credit.
And a lot of people, Paula, think they need a big down payment. There's something called a seller's concession. So actually, the seller can help you with a down payment. So
I do have about $30,000 saved up. But one thing I just had a question on and maybe I could just ask him, but a while, like in 2015, I had a car repossessed. And normally, my understanding was a deficiency balance is owed and I have to pay that. But the place I went through, I bought it down in North Carolina, they report every month that I missed a payment. And there is no more payments.
Okay, so how much do you still owe them?
Every month.
How much do you owe them, Paula?
At the time, I thought the deficiency balance, and I can look at the paperwork, was around, say, $3,000.
How much?
Maybe $3,000.
All right, and so what do they still show that you owe?
Every month it goes up by $64.
So why don't you call them and find out?
I do call them, and they say that they're just adding interest to the deficiency balance.
Okay, so why don't you get it paid?
Jesse.
So why don't you get it paid up, and so that you change your credit situation?
My question is,
so why don't you pay them, Paula, so that you stop this?
at the time, obviously, when my car was repossessed, I didn't have the money, Esther. Now,
I know, but right now you do, and you want to go on with your life. So that's one of the things I might suggest. But if you want to call Jesse, he'll help you with getting your credit straightened out. Or you might want to call an attorney to see if they wouldn't make the call and see if they won't accept
like $2,000
right, in lieu to settle the debt. But Paula, you want to get that debt off your credit because it's stopping you from your life.
And Jesse's phone number, I can only find the 800 number. It's, gosh, forgive me. It is 877.
All right, well, we got to go. I'm Esther Gulias, a tax lady. We'll see you next week. And you can call us at egtax.com. Thank you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.